Hey, you guys, welcome to Walking in Destiny, a Destiny Daughters podcast. So glad to be back. Man, I'm really thinking about shortening the name, but then it's like I should just call it Walking in Destiny instead of like. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'll probably change the name. I'll probably just shorten it because it's like super long. But if I change it now, I don't know if I have to change it everywhere. Whatever. You know, welcome back. Today, y'all, we're just going to be talking about ministry. Honestly, if I haven't accept another episode about this, hey, it is what it is. I just felt led to talk about it again. If I already have one, God is good. We've heard it twice. So ministry. I feel like at least I feel like I had a very boxed view of what ministry or ministering was supposed to look like, or how it looked. So I was brought up in a ministry that's really great, and I have no grievances or whatever, but I was brought up in ministry. You know, we had our scheduled times, like we did something every first and third Wednesday, and then we would also do we would also do something on the second Saturday, and then for about a year we did second and fourth Saturdays. So we had different services, different time sets for things, which is great. I'm not knocking that. It was awesome. And so I grew up spiritually with a lot of structure, with a lot of it gave me the foundation of when I kind of started, when the Lord launched me out into Destiny Daughters. It gave me a foundation of what ministry was supposed to look like in my own brain, you know. So I kind of got this formula, you know. So I'm gonna do it at this day. My ministry meeting day is gonna be at this time. I'm going to pray. I'm gonna do such and such thing at this and this time. Which these things are good, y'all. I'm not knocking those things. If the Lord is giving you a schedule to do something, do that schedule, baby girl. Because, you just don't want to be in a place of disobedience, just because you're you just don't want to be in disobedience. You want to, of course, be on time with what the Lord wants you to be doing when it comes to ministry. And with my ministry being online, I kind of was like, okay, well, I'm going to make sure I'm doing something at least every single day of the week. So I had something to do on Monday and Tuesdays. And then, I think it was Tuesdays and Wednesdays. It was Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then, it's been a minute since I followed this strict kind of schedule. It was Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then it was something else. I honestly can't even remember. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, maybe something. And then of course I had things on the fourth Saturday, which I'm still trying to be consistent with. But yes, so I had all of this, basically all of these things just scheduled up. And I'm not saying that the schedule was bad, because it wasn't, but that was the basis upon which I built my definition of what ministry was and what it looked like. It looked like filming a video and posting it on TikTok, or doing this and having it in studying up and sharing this on YouTube, or doing this short, or posting this to Instagram Reels, or making a full video and doing the editing and doing all that. So that was and then of course there's the model of the actual church that I know, how ministry looks like within an actual church setting. So, you know, you have your pastors and you have your associate pastors, you have the X, the Y's, and the Z's, the staff members, and everything like that. So I kind of had the picture of the church, and I had the picture of the ministry, and just kind of a very I don't know, I want to say not immature view, just a very narrow view of what ministry looked like for me personally. This is not like I'm judging everybody else's stuff, but for me personally, I was like, man, if I'm not getting that video posted, if I'm not doing this at this time, like I'm not being like the leader of Destiny Daughters. Like I'm not doing what I need to do. Like I am not really leading. I'm not really doing anything. And the Lord, I can't say he like just corrected me. He just really changed my thinking, and he changed my view of what it actually means to minister to someone, and what it means to even like be in ministry. So I just like did a quick search of the definition of ministry, like in the Christian sense, and it says the spiritual work or service of any Christian or group of Christians, especially evangelism. That's what the definition said. I just wanted to focus on where it says the spiritual work or service of any Christian. So I think that the Lord just allowed me to broaden my view of what ministry is. It's not just only, like, this is just personal, y'all. It's not just only, okay, let me just do my podcast, let me get that posted, let me film this video, and let me get that posted, and then I'm, like, done. And there's nothing to do for the Lord, you know, and anytime I go out, anytime I'm around folks, like, it's not there, I'm not ministering. And the Lord just really, like, he just opened my mind to the fact that ministry is not just that. Like, for me, it's the times where I've counseled friends, the times where I was able to pray for that brother or sister who needed the prayer, the time I was able to provide encouragement, word of wisdom, prophecy. And ministry is really just like an everyday thing. And the Lord was showing me how ministry was just really engraved in my personality. Like I minister to people without really even thinking that I'm ministering to people, because it's just so normal for me. And I'm not saying that like I just came to that own conclusion. Like literally someone even like spoke that over me. So I'm not like talking like, you know, randomly or into the air. This, or like not into the air, but talking from my own mind. This was what was spoken over me, and I was like, dang, you know, you're so right. I actually, what I realized is that I minister much more than I actually thought. Especially when it comes to friendships. Not only just friendships, like everyday people at work who I don't consider, you know, to be like these super close friends, or even just my own within the body of Christ, family. You know, God gives us the opportunity to, if we're open, we can minister in many more ways than just what we think we're called to minister in. Like if you are a worship leader and you're like, this is my ministry, this is how the Lord is going to use me, and this is how he's going to continue to use me, you can still minister to that brother or sister who's needing financial assistance. You can still minister to that brother or sister who just even needs just prayer. The Lord was just broadening my definition of what ministry actually looks like. And while I will continue to minister through various channels like the YouTube and the TikTok and the podcast, and posting the videos and posting the graphic designs, while I will continue to minister in those moments, I realized that the Lord really is showing me that, because what I guess to kind of put some context, what would happen is like I would like miss a time to post because I was like not necessarily out doing nothing, but I probably just missed the time to post, or missed this, missed that, and I would just be like, oh my gosh, Lord, like I'm not like doing ministry right now. and I'm not like being a good, steward of like the ministry that you like gave me to do. You know what I mean? And what he had to kind of not break off of me, but I guess to break off that mindset, what he had to show me was like, he told me, he's like, it's not about what you post. Like, God literally told me, like, because it was a day where I don't know what I was going to do, but I was like, man, I just really need to post something. I need to do something. I need to talk to the camera, get it on I need to do something. And he was like, it's not about what you post. It's not about the video or the podcast or the what you call it. Like, ministry is more than that. Ministry is that, but it's also other things, and I feel like the Lord he loves variety. He gives us our thing, of course, like, me doing all of this stuff with Destiny Daughters is my thing, but he so gives us other like areas where we can minister, that we may think, oh man, that's not my calling. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, girl, not everything just has to be just this super deep calling that you're anointed for. Like, you can go and pray for the daggone sick. Like, it's okay. Like, you can pray for someone needing assistance with financial help. You can give the knowledge to your brother or sister who's less mature in the faith than you. That's ministry. And it doesn't have to be what you quote unquote, like the major calling in your life, like you're, called to be a missionary or whatever. I really hope all this is making sense, like, to be honest. But the Lord was just kind of showing me that you're called to ministry, Destiny Daughters, which, I'm doing, but Destiny Daughters, I feel this so heavily in the spirit. Destiny Daughters doesn't stop when the video turns off. It doesn't stop when the podcast ends. It doesn't stop when the worship session that you do ends. It continues. Because it's not just this thing it's not just this thing that I'm just posting on and doing, like, it's within me. So therefore it continues. So I'm not just a leader when I'm behind the microphone. I'm not just a leader when I'm behind the camera or whatever. I'm a leader when I'm just at work. I'm just heading to the store. You know what I mean? And that's just I think it's so pivotal to grasp this, because I feel like we may feel like unless we're like doing the ministry thing that we think is just the right way to do it, like, unless we're doing that, that's when we feel fulfilled. But when we do the small things where it's like, I'm just gonna give this person a couple dollars, or I'm gonna pray for this person, I'm gonna take that time after work to go and talk to my sister who needs guidance, like, whatever it may be, like, I think we got to find that true meaning of ministry, because we don't want to find identity, but find purpose in only like one way that we're called to minister, which is of course the main way. Like, if you're worship singer, like, that's the main way, like, you're gonna be called to minister. But you want to find even the purpose, and you want to even get a grasp of the significance of doing the small ministry things, the things that look minuscule, but to God, he sees. Like, literally, the Bible, when it talks about the end times and the sheep goat judgment, and what Jesus says, these are small things. He doesn't ask the goats, did you lead millions to me? No, he's not asking them if they did these big ministry. Well, he didn't ask the sheep or the goats if they did these big ministry, like, escapades and revivals and all this. He's like, did you, when I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was thirsty, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me a drink. Like, even the small things, seeing those things as ministering. Like, you can minister in so many ways than just what, like, you think. Like, I was just And it was astounding because I can't talk. It was an astounding revelation when they told me that. But I feel like that can be for everyone. Because I did like my church, they have like prophecy rooms where you can go and receive prophecy and encouraging word, etc. And that's what they had said, that I have like it's just in my personality. So when I'm ministering to people, it don't even be feeling like I'm ministering to people because it's just me. I feel like that could be for all of us. Where it's not like, oh, I feel it, bro, that's so good. Like, I feel like I'm ministering, so I must be ministering. No, like ministry, a lot of times you're not really feeling much. But God sees those little things where you're just like, oh, you know what? I only gave him, the homeless guy, $1 because I don't have much. Silver or gold, I do not have. Like, I don't have much. But I did pray for him. God sees those little things. He sees that you giving the homeless man $1 and praying for him as ministry as much as he sees you leading church in worship as ministry. He sees them like he sees them alike, the same. And I think we kind of downplay what ministry is. Like, oh, if you're a pastor, you're ministering. If you're an evangelist, you're ministering. If you're a prophet, if you are, what they call within the fivefold ministry, if you're a teacher, you must be ministering. But there's so many, like, moms are ministers in their homes. Like, ministering is so, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the one who just figuring this out and everybody else knew. This wasn't news to y'all too? Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just so cool to know that. Okay, well, I know that. I think for me personally, it's especially true because I have an online ministry. Like, the things that I do, they're online. They're not, in person things. So it's like, well, man, it's harder because it's like, I did feel like I was ministering more when I was posting more. But the Lord was telling me, he's like, it's not even like you think. You actually have probably, and I'm just thinking about this now, but I probably have much more, even much more impact on my day-to-day life outside of doing things online, but even though this is actually what I'm specifically called to, I feel like I've done a lot, because what I did was, instead of putting so much emphasis on Destiny Daughters and posting online and doing this is the only way that I could minister, instead of putting so much emphasis on that, I begin to emphasize it, but also emphasize other areas in my life. Like, okay, this friend is asking me to meet with her to discuss this and discuss that. I'm gonna go, and it actually is ministry. When I'm going there, I'm listening, I'm encouraging, I'm praying, prophesying, delivering, whatever the conversation leads to. I just did ministry. And I feel like once we kind of grasp that, oh, Jesus, wow. I feel like once we kind of grasp that ministry is much more than this, much more than like the basic, we can get out of performance mentality. Once I grasped that, dang, yeah, Lord, you're right. It's not about what I post. That performance mentality, well, it was broken off. I feel like it just broke even more. It broke even more, that performance mentality, that drive to just do and do so I can still be considered a leader of the ministry. You know what I mean? That drive to do and do, and it's like, okay, let me make sure it gets posted. And you want to have that drive, but you want to have that drive for the right reasons too. you know, and it will destroy the performance mentality of, okay, if I don't post, God's going to be disappointed. I'm actually not as much as a leader as I thought. You know, it would just destroy those thoughts, because it's like, yeah, I didn't post today, but I did spend 2 hours ministering to my friend. So, depending on what you define as ministry, you can look at that as, dang, I just spent 2 hours ministering to my friends. Dang, I need to stop hanging out with my friends. Or you'd be like, dang, I didn't post, and I just spent 2 hours hanging out with my friend, ministering to my friend, and she received a lot. She was able to be spiritually nourished. She was able to gain clarity on her situation. Though I didn't post, I still ministered today, or for the week, or whatever. And that's so crazy to think about, but it's so real. Obviously, y'all, it's different if you are a pastor and you are a worship leader. You can't just like, well, sometimes you can just not show up. Like, obviously, you're not doing that every week, though. So it's different. Obviously, I'm talking in like most of my perspective is coming from being, from doing ministry online. So it's like, it's definitely different. So if I'm not posting, like if I don't post, it's because of a certain thing or whatever. It's just different. It's different. But anyways. Yeah, so I think when we allow ourselves to, especially if you're an online minister, I think if we allow ourselves to not be so boxy about how the Lord is moving in our lives, because we can very much, that's so crazy, we can very much have those friends and they're like, hey girl, like I just really need to talk to you tonight. Is there any way you could make a way or something? And imagine you going, nah, like I gotta do my podcast today, and I just really can't. Like I hope someone else is able to like meet up and pray with you and encourage you in what you're going through. Like, what if that's like the Lord telling you, like, yeah, you was about to do your podcast, but the way that I want you to actually minister right now, I need you to go hang with so and so, speak life into her, build her up as your sister, or build him up as your brother. Like, what if that's like actually the Lord? And because you're having such a closed-minded view of what the Lord wants to do, bars. But because you have a closed-minded view of what the Lord wants to do, you like reject what would have been like a powerful moment in him. You know? Isn't that deep? Like, if we allow ourselves to be just so concerned with, all right, I got to do this at this time, I got to do that at that time. And this is, like I said, this is really speaking for more so the online viewer, the online people who have like online ministries and they post online. It's like, man, like there's so many ways. There's so many ways that the Lord wants us to minister. But we have to be open in knowing that it's even him. You know what I mean? Open and knowing that, okay, Lord, yeah, I actually haven't posted, I haven't done anything, Lord, in X amount of weeks. Like, Lord, what's wrong with me? And he's like, actually, you've been ministering your butt off, like at least 3 times a week, or at least 2 times a week, and maybe even once a week, but you poured out so much that it was like a lot. And you needed the rest of that week to spiritually recoup. Like, guys, we never know. You never know. But I don't know. I just kind of wanted to hop on and just talk about ministry and how we just shouldn't view it in a boxy way. Okay, like he's a minister of the gospel and he's a preacher. He's a minister. Like we are all literally ministers. And that's that. It's not about having a title or anything like that. It's not about, yeah, not even having like the title of like a leader. Like you can ministering to someone, you can do what you do with you do that without a title. You know, you don't need the title of being a pastor, or being an usher, or being on the leadership team, or being on this team, that team, this team. It doesn't matter. Like, you can still minister. And man, when we're in the kingdom, we are all, of course, there's like ranks and stuff, like as far as spiritual maturity goes, and the Bible says how the first will be last and last will be first. But in the kingdom, we're not, as far as value, no one's more valuable than anyone. We're all the same, you know, like you and Billy Graham, okay, like the same valuable, purchased with the same cost, you know. So never think of yourself too lowly or too low, like, oh my gosh, like I'm not qualified to talk to her about that situation, even though I've been through it, but because I'm still going through it. Like, whatever it is, y'all, like, take the opportunity to minister, because ministry is not about wow, ministry is not just about having your own ministry. It's literally like, I don't even know how to really describe it. Like, the only way to describe it is how they described it for me, how it's just in your personality. Ministry is such a natural thing. Yeah, when you're a believer, that heart to minister. And I'm not talking about, you know, I'm not saying like you're just gonna start running up and down the United States and start evangelizing, and, you know, or like you're just gonna start becoming a worship leader or just going into every single aspect of ministering. That's not what I mean, but it's a hard thing I feel like the Lord does grace us with certain areas where we are much more capable to minister, and he'll give us just a great heart for that, where we don't feel like, oh yeah, just got done ministering. And it's like, no, I just got done doing something just so awesome and so excited. Can't wait to do it again. And you're thinking that, and God is like, aha, my daughter, my son, you're just so good. Anyway, yeah, I just encourage us all to be open-minded, especially when it comes to what it looks like to minister, and to not be boxed in, and to not be in a performance mentality, because it is easy, especially if you are when you're doing anything for the Lord that requires schedule. It's like, you know, that performance mentality is like, okay, if I miss something, and it's like, like, not, oh, the Lord hates me, but man, I just didn't minister. And God wants us to get past this. He wants us to get past this. He wants us to recognize and realize that He's so vast and so different. Our ways of thinking are not His ways of thinking. We're like, me, I'm just like, okay, Destiny Daughters, like, I'm a leader, I'm a minister, like, I gotta like make sure I'm doing this at this time and this on this day, because if I'm not doing these things, I'm clearly not a leader. And He just kind of destroyed those lies that I kind of didn't really recognize I was carrying until He was like, yeah, girl, ministry is not what you post. Like, that's ministry, but that's actually really not only it. Like, there's more for you. And it's like, oh snap, wow, God, you're really out of the box. And I think that's something to realize as I close. I think the main thing to realize, yeah, God is out of the box. Like, so out of the box. The box is not even like, it's not even in the picture. Like, he is outside of the box. Matter of fact, he is the box and he's outside of the box. Ain't that crazy? God is he's infinitely outside of the box, you know? So when he leads you somewhere to do something, expect different. Expect different, you know? Like for me and Destiny Daughters, I'm like, oh, it's different than what I was expecting. And it just keeps evolving into different. So it stays interesting. But love you guys. Stay strapped out there. Make sure you pray upon yourself the full armor of God. Be covered. Pray for your family. Pray for the lost, that they will surrender their lives to Christ. And yeah, I love you guys, and I will catch you next time. Be blessed.